cool. Hey, so we're going to talk about my amps and preamps and main sound makers really. Starting off, got the Pierce BC1 bass preamp. Real old company called Pierce, like they don't exist anymore. They went, I think, I don't know, went bust or something in the 90s. Got a couple of these things. If I ever find any more, I'm going to keep buying them. It's real sweet. Got it set for, got 2 channels of real sweet bass, like overdrive. Everything's the set. I have the settings so it was the same on either channel. But the overdrives on each channel sound totally different. Like one's really thin and one's like a lot bassier. Like even though they've got the same settings, if we just compare, like this is just channel 1, it's something like real low end. If we turn that one down, turn the other one up, it's like that's with the same settings. So it's like I have a real sweet blend of those two. It's got like a blend in bottom off one and like the gnarliness off the other one, and just it sounds awesome. But it's not an amp on itself; it's just a preamp. So I use that just for my sound, and the output of that goes into orange bass Terra bass amplifier. I bypass the preamp section in this and just go straight into the effects return and use it just for volume really. These things are so loud. Like it's just, out of all the micro amps I've played, it's just the loudest. The ratings are really good. It's 500 watt, there's a 1000 watt version, and this one's like insane. Right, so barefaced cabinet. This thing, they're all handmade down, well not handmade, but made by a guy down south called Alex, and he's got a small team of people down there. But these things, I've heard about them, people always say like, oh, like the best things now, it's like new technology being used in music cabs, which is always, people always think the old vintage ones are going to sound the best. So I was part of that team. I was like, nah, whatever, I have my Ampeg 8x10, that's all I ever wanted to use. But just carrying around an 8x10 speaker all the time was just an absolute pain in the arse. I mean, it sounded amazing, don't get me wrong, it was loud, it sounded punchy and fast. So I used to hate 15-inch speakers, and this has got 2 15s. They're not like any other 15s. Like they're not muddy. They're just, you get fat, clear lows. You get the highs, you get the mids. I just love the upper mids, like 1 kilohertz. I crank that frequency on my PSBC1 preamp. Crank it up, get those real sparkly mids. Not up to the treble range. Don't have too much treble, but just crank those mids. You need it in the bass band to really slice through the music. Especially Dan's drums. Hits them so hard. I need someone just to help me like slice through his drums. And this thing, you can lift it with one hand, like it's crazy. And when I'm playing, it feels like I've got my old Ampeg 8x10 right behind me. It sounds so loud, so big. It's the best cab I've ever used. I'll recommend it to anyone out there. Amazing. Right, pedals. Where to start with this thing? I work on this thing all the time. I'm always pulling stuff off, putting things on. Just year after year, I'm messing with something, trying to find the right sound. So it's really crazy setup now. So basically, right, we'll start at the beginning. From the bass, go in at the back here, this bass goes straight in, that goes down into this. This is just like a bypass looper, so it helps me control some of my pedals from the front of the board. So in it I've just got my overdrive goes at the end, one of my synths, this loop's got an octave down, another like synthy thing in there. This one's empty at the moment, but I've got some crazy secrets going for that one. That's going to be wild. It's going to be some crazy magic sounds. And this one, my parallel one, it's just pure sub. I've got this thing called the Meat Box by DOD. You don't find them anymore, though. It took me ages to get one. I've got it hidden away under there. And this thing turns it on, it's just pure subs. You won't hear it coming through. I'm not going to bother playing it now because it won't even come through the camera. You need to be cranked into the PA, have the speakers loud. Like with the barefaced, you can really feel it because that thing has mega lows. You can just crank the lows in it and get it out. But that Meat Box, with my looper, everything runs in parallel, apart from the overdrive, which comes in after everything. So you can just combine all the. It's like a massive blender. You can blend all the effects. So I can be playing with like one synthy sound, like say, I don't know, one crazy synthy sound, and I can kick the subs in underneath it. So they don't go together. They're just like side by side. So the subs just like really fills it out. It's good because you can combine all my effects. And then so it goes from this. And all these are under it. My overdrive's hidden away under there. That thing's a dark glass B3K. I used to use two really weird, like unknown bass distortions I got from Japan. I don't even know what they were. It was some crazy brand, and I never had anything I liked more than those. But this thing, I don't even know. It's one pedal. It sounds like I used to have two pedals with my distortion. This thing's better than both of them. This thing's massive. So I've got that in one loop. So it comes out of this. It goes into this line 6 M5. I use it for my pitch shifting basically. I used to have a Digitech whammy, but I don't know, like, used to get breaking on me every now and then and going all weird. So I got this thing. This is the expression pedal for it. Just my pitch shifting really, like my crazy like whammies stuff. And from there it goes back out into this. This is my tremolo pedal. This is crazy harsh tremolo. It's like it's totally wild. Like if I just it's got this crazy, like, you can change the pulse width on it, so it's like you can get it really choppy, like almost like helicopter blades, like you can get it really wide, and it's just like it's the best tremolo I've ever used. Like it's really harsh. I like real harsh, choppy tremolos. I don't want anything smooth and pulsy. That's what, like basically like helicopter blades. That's what I like. So that goes into that. Then I've got a Boss loop station. Just got this today actually. I'm just using that for like looping weird stuff in between songs, like weird phrases. You know, I don't know. Yeah, excuse me. Oh, there's some already in there, but yeah. So yeah, I already had something on it saved, but I'm just going to loop weird stuff in between songs, you know, feel like give it a bit more atmosphere. So that goes into that. What else we got? That's the last thing before the preamp. We've got delay as well. Delay comes before the looper. This thing, made by a company called, what is it? It's an Echo Baby delay made by Love Pedal. This is like a real small delay, but it sounds so weird. It's like got modulation. One knob, two little trim pots at the back to adjust other settings, but it's just sounds crazy, like really weird. And like this thing, I use that for. I normally pitch shift it. I'll pitch shift my bass real high, like I don't know, say 2 octaves up. So it's like, then put the delay on that, and it's always like. That thing. If you listen to the first track on the album, there's loads of sweet overdubs. Like after it's like real. I used basically the line 6 in the delay for some real high pitch shifting overdubs. It's just like a sweet little delay because I used to have some other delays. They're all really massive. I don't really use them for anything apart from like a weird little delay. So I might as well get a tiny delay that sounds better. And they've got the Mark Bass synth up here. That's the main synth. Like you have to edit it on a computer. So it's a bit fiddly. So I've only got one real sound on it. I use sound number 1. That's like the main. Basically that with my overdrive is like one of the main sounds you'll hear in all the Castrovalva songs. It's just like that on its own. It's just gonna sound like this. It's like, but if I always put on the overdrive with that. So it's always like. A few controls on there. You can change the volumes of all the loops. You can boost them or you can make them totally silent. This is a foot switch for my preamp in case I want to turn one of the channels off. It's not plugged in at the moment because it's just stopped working. I think it got a bit wet on tour or something because we use basically a lot of water flies around while we're playing, so I think it ended up a bit broken. But I'll get it sorted out. Then at the back, after we go to the preamp, we go at the back. This thing's got tons of outputs on the back of it around here. I only use one at the moment. So you get one output, and I go into, this is my DI box. I use my own because that way I know exactly what sound I'm sending out to the front of the house. I like to just have control over everything. I want to sound the way I want to sound all the time. I spent all this time making my bass sound the way I want it to sound. Going to that, it's got cab simulation on it, because with all these like overdrive pedals and loads of like high gain stuff running through, when you get a DI and you get that full range signal before it goes to cab and gets rolled off, it just sounds awful. You get that, the distortions just sound so crunchy and in a really bad, like, it's all that super top end that the DI just lets through, and your cab normally rolls it off. So I've got my cab simulator on the DI, so when I send my signal to the sound man, it's already like acts like it's going through a speaker, even though it's not. It's like, it sounds a lot better, and that gives me more control over the way everything sounds as well. Everything just goes into the cab and bam, easy peasy, if you know what it does.